Hello everyone, my name is Linda Yonke. I am the owner of Yonke Consulting Incorporated. My husband and I have owned our long-term care insurance agency for 33 years. Over those years, we have endeavored to educate families and offer them products that would help them pay for care outside a hospital setting. In addition to that, I am a board-certified patient advocate. In doing that, I specialize in managing our clients' long-term care insurance claims. We want our clients to receive all of the benefits that they're entitled to. My goal in providing this information to you today is so that you can better understand what type of care your policy will pay for, when is it time to file a claim, what steps are required to get your benefits, and what can you do if your claim has stalled. For over 20 years, I have had the pleasure of knowing many residents at the V. Your choice to live in a continuing care retirement community, in addition to having long-term care insurance, means that you place a very high value on the quality of care and support services that you may need in the future. In light of this, it may be time for you to look in your insurance file, to pull out your long-term care policy, and call or email me with questions you may have. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen so that you can see the presentation and you can read along with me. So let's get started. I'd like to do a little bit of an overview of long-term care insurance. Just so that you know, many people who are viewing this may have purchased their policy 25 years ago. Some of your policies will only pay in a residential care facility. Some of your policies will pay in a nursing facility. The reason that I explain that is because in the event that you're not sure what your policy will pay for, it depends on the year that you purchased it. I am more than happy to review your policy for you. All you need to do is reach out to me, and at the end of this presentation, I will be providing my contact information. If you purchased your policy somewhere between 2000 and the present, you probably have a policy that's called comprehensive, meaning a one pool formula. And what that means is that in the event that you need care, your policy will pay anywhere that you want to go. If you need to be in an assisted living facility or a skilled nursing facility, or in fact, if you'd like to receive benefits at home, that policy will pay. What it does is it will follow you along the care continuum. So you have long-term care insurance. Now, how do you use it? The most important thing is for you to understand, number one, when is this policy going to pay? So for example, do you have a waiting period? Most people who have long-term care insurance have either a 30, a 60, or a 90-day waiting period. The reason it's important to understand that is because those waiting periods are measured sometimes in service days and sometimes in calendar days. And what that means is how much out of pocket you're going to have to spend before those benefits start. In the event that you do not know that, once again, you can reach out to me and I can help you understand that. The reason that's important is because we generally recommend that if a person wants to file a claim and they have home care benefits, that they do that in advance so that they can get their waiting period over and done with. Should you call your broker or the insurance company if you want to file a claim? I would say if you have a good relationship with your insurance broker, absolutely give them a call. Odds are, however, your insurance broker may not even be in the business anymore. Also, a lot of policies have been sold to new companies. And so once again, it's important that you might want to reach out to us. If you call the insurance company, I would not suggest that you call to file a claim. What you might want to do is call them and ask them, what are the steps to filing a claim? Should you wait until your claim is approved to start care? Absolutely not. In fact, you have to start receiving care before you file a claim. Most insurance companies won't even start the process unless you have some care services in place. And who decides anyway if you are eligible for your benefits? Well, the insurance company does. They have a case manager who will actually look over your medical records, a nursing assessment, and your doctor's statement, and they will decide if you're eligible for benefits. I'll get into that more as my presentation continues. Now, can you decide if you want a certain level of care? Absolutely. For example, with your long-term care insurance policy, your policy may pay for home care or care in an assisted living or skilled nursing. I can guarantee you that all of the services at the V do qualify. The V is a very special community, and all of the services there do qualify under long-term care insurance. In fact, the resources that the V offers you in terms of home care providers also qualify under long-term care insurance. Now, your long-term care insurance kind of looks like this. You all have a piggy bank of benefits. And in that piggy bank, so to speak, you have a bunch of money that you are entitled to be paid. And that money will be paid to you in bits and pieces. That money might be paid to you in your home. For example, you may be entitled to $150 a day benefit. And what that means is, in the event that you have care and your care provider charges you $130, your long-term care insurance will pay your exact benefits to how much you paid for care. If you need to be in an assisted living facility, that policy will just automatically convert to assisted living benefits, and they will continue paying for your care as long as you're in that assisted living facility or until that piggy bank balance has run out. Some of you have inflation protection, and what that means is what you purchased years ago has been growing. And as I said earlier, and I'll continue to say, it's so important that you understand the benefits that you have so you can budget for your expenses. One of the reasons why I decided to get into the service field of patient advocacy is because I had an experience with a client that really taught me the value of having an advocate and understanding what your policy paid for. My client, who was a very dear client of mine and had policy with us for over 20 years, hired a home care provider to take care of her who was not appropriate to be caring for her particular need. Now, once again, because you live at the V, the services that you have there and the type of services that are offered to you are vetted, and you can be assured that the home care providers that come into your apartment are referred, are good providers, and you shouldn't be concerned about this. But my experience in general is that people have a hard time finding good services. They don't know where to start. They don't know what to look for. And unfortunately, my client had a care provider that was not really a good care provider for her, and she passed away in her home as a result of a caregiving error. Now, when my client's family member called me and told me what had happened, I was just devastated about this, because I felt when I was speaking with my client that she probably needed a little bit more care, but she was very resistant to it. In addition, her insurance claim had stalled. And the reason her insurance claim stalled is because she didn't sign the HIPAA forms, and her care provider didn't send in invoices and care logs to the insurance company. Now, what a lot of people don't understand when they have long-term care insurance is that insurance company wants to see what type of care you're getting in your home, especially. Does it meet the policy qualifications? When a home care provider or a care provider does not give the insurance company that information, the insurance process stalls. And so because of that experience, I felt as though for people who have spent the money to buy a long-term care insurance policy to plan for their future care, nobody in that situation should ever have to wonder, do I have the right person caring for me, and will my benefits pay? Now, stepping into the long-term care claims process is unlike anything that you will experience. So, for example, When you go to the doctor and you present your insurance card, whether it's your Medicare Advantage card or your physician already has that information for you, you get your services at your doctor's office and you leave without worrying about, are the people in that doctor's office following through to send that information to your insurance company so you don't have to pay out of pocket. That process to you, when you go to the doctor, when you have physical therapy, when you have occupational therapy, is really a process that you're not very involved in because you don't have to fill out any paperwork. Unfortunately, long-term care insurance is not like that. Because these policies pay you directly, they pay you the money directly, they do not pay your provider. It is your responsibility, or your family member or someone who's helping you get this information to the insurance company so that you can get your benefits. When we manage people's long-term care insurance claims, we have a step process, what we do. Step one is we call the insurance company. Now, remember when I said earlier, I wouldn't necessarily recommend that you call the insurance company to say you want to file a claim? Well, this is why. When you file a claim and you call the insurance company, the first thing they're going to do is what's called vet your claim. In vetting your claim, they're going to ask you some very basic questions. And those questions might go something like this. Are you able to get in and out of the shower without assistance? Are you able to put on your clothing, every article of clothing every day without assistance? And in general, when a person is calling an insurance company, unless they are very, very disabled, most people who are struggling just struggle through their day, struggle through the shower, even though they might be concerned about falling, or maybe they don't shower as often as they should. But they might tell the analyst at the insurance company, yes, I can do that. Yes, if I go slow. Yes, if I hold on to my grab bar, I can do that myself. Unfortunately, when you say those things to an insurance adjuster, that stops the process, because your policy specifically says, in order for you to file a claim, you need to have assistance with either standby or hands-on assistance with 6 listed activities of daily living, and you must need help with at least 2 of them. And again, one of our roles with people is to help them reframe what their day is like with their activities of daily living. So when a person calls an insurance company, sometimes they end up talking themselves out of actually filing a claim. So the first step we do is we do the intake assessment for our clients. We don't allow them to do that. We actually see our clients. Because of COVID right now, a lot of times what we do is we'll do a Zoom call or a FaceTime, or I will work with a family member. I want to make sure that the claim is appropriate and that we should go forward, so that when I do the intake interview, I am telling them with confidence that my client needs this care. The second step is there is generally an on-site assessment. Well, once again, because of COVID, we cannot do that any longer. And so what I do is I do the assessment with the nurse on the phone. This assessment might take maybe an hour to an hour and a half. And then my client joins us to finish up the last cognitive portion of the assessment. Now, once COVID is over and we're back to what would be called normal living, these assessments are going to start up again. And unfortunately, this is where claims once again stall. And the reason being is because if you think about it in this way, most people, when they go to their doctor or they see a nurse or they're going to their physical therapist, in general, they want to put their best foot forward. And most likely, they're looking as good as they can. What we try and help our clients understand in these assessments is that this is not the time to put your best foot forward necessarily. This is the time to express to the nurse how difficult it is, maybe how dangerous it is to do these types of things for yourself because of your condition. And so step one is the intake interview. Step two is the assessment. So as you can see, just in these two things, the insurance company is really drilling down to make sure that you meet all of the requirements of your contract before they're going to approve your claim. And so, as I said before, it's very important that you understand what the contract language is and what they require in order for you to get your benefits. The third step is documentation collection, which, what I said earlier, is wherever you're at, wherever you're getting care, we want to make sure that that documentation is representing exactly everything that you are getting. I'm going to share a little bit later about the difficulty in documentation and why that causes problems, especially for individuals who have cognitive impairments. Step 4, handling invoices and care notes. Here again, I've mentioned this before, when you are on claim, you must, or somebody in your family or your advocate must be sending once a week or twice a month invoices and care notes to the insurance company so that they can see and assure that you are receiving care, so they can see how much you're paying for that care and what that service is providing in your home. That service must match the things that you said you need help with. And then the last thing is we verify benefits for accuracy. So once the claim is approved and our clients are getting their benefits, we get a statement for them and we take a look at that, and our staff looks at every single day how much charge was given to the client and are those benefits matching what the policy says it's going to pay for. Now, if that wasn't enough, some insurance companies require every 3 to 6 months that you go through that assessment process again. And what that means is sometimes, and one company in particular is Genworth, sometimes they send a nurse or do an assessment every quarter for the first 18 months. That's a lot of interviews. That's a lot of information, and what the insurance company is trying to see is, are you still needing care? So our role and what we want to do is make sure that our clients are continuing to quote unquote comply with the language, getting the type of care that they need so that that claim is not going to be shut down. Now, common problems with long-term care claims, and this one is something that we're seeing a lot of now. When mild cognitive impairment is not severe enough. So for example, all of your policies have a trigger that's called a cognitive impairment trigger. And what that means is that maybe a person can do all of their care for themselves, such as bathing, showering, walking, getting in and out of the bathroom. They're not having a problem with that, but they have a cognitive impairment and they are not safe to be left alone. Well, an insurance company is not just going to take your word for it. And unfortunately, what we're seeing often is in medical records, we see physicians or nurse practitioners write down that their patients have mild cognitive impairment. Insurance companies will not pay if a person is diagnosed with a mild cognitive impairment. So when a client comes to us, and if there is an issue and their family says, well, you know, this is what's going on. Concerned about mom or dad or my spouse, and here are the types of things that we're struggling with. And I can tell, for example, that there is an issue with their cognition. The first thing that I want to do is I want to find out, has this person been to a neuropsychologist? Do they have a diagnosis? It's not enough, unfortunately, for the family just to say, I think my loved one has a cognitive impairment, hoping the insurance company is going to approve that claim. These types of claims, we have to have very specific documentation that this person, in fact, does have a diagnosis, and it cannot be mild. One of the things that we're finding, unfortunately, is a lot of times people, professionals who are making notes and writing in medical records about what's going on with a person, a lot of times there's a hesitancy to name or to give, for example, a cognitive impairment, anything other than mild. And there's many reasons for this. It's a very sensitive issue. And so when we look at medical records and when we're getting forms back for our clients from assisted living facilities, etc., and we see that, we know it's going to be a problem. So we want to make sure that we have documentation that shows that particular scores have been reached, that particular tests have been done, and that there is a history of particular behaviors that meet the definition in that contract. And so again, I've said this before, but it's just so very important before you file a claim. If you believe that someone that you are caring for or somebody in your family has a cognitive impairment, it's very important that you reach out to perhaps an advocate or us, just to run by us what type of situation you're experiencing so that we can point you in the right direction. The second thing that causes problems with claims is the denial on part of the claimant that anything's wrong. And of course, we all live like this, right? We all have things maybe that we need to fix up in our lives, or that maybe other people see within us that we're not seeing within ourselves. And unfortunately, individuals needing care and not getting care is one of those problems. And so, as I had said earlier, this is why we do the intake interview with the insurance company. And the reason is because a lot of times people are just really not good self-reporters. They've made things work in their life. They struggle through getting dressed, or they struggle through fixing their meals or figuring out their medication, and they know it's not going well. And maybe they've had some blips or some problems as a result of that. But people just naturally are very hesitant to reach out for care and for help. And so it's important, of course, that we sit with our clients and help them understand the reason why they have long-term care insurance is for this very reason, and not to mitigate or minimize the issues that they're having. And one very important thing that I just want to really stress and emphasize is the reason we want people to get services before something really significant happens in their life is because a lot of claims that we deal with are a result of falls or trauma. And honestly, I think that having care to support people in their home is the best way to avoid having a fall, a fracture, because as you all know, that just creates a whole another set of issues that's very difficult for people to live with. So we encourage people to get a minimal amount of support in their home to help them age in place, to avoid any kind of an accident or something like that that would cause more problems for them. The other thing is, and the last thing I'll talk about regarding why long-term care insurance claims are problematic. Unfortunately, as I said before, professionals, physicians, physical therapists, etc., are so good at what they do, but sometimes they're not the best at documentation. They get busy, and oftentimes they don't realize what we're trying to accomplish and the importance of them taking time to fill out exactly the way that is needed, all of the paperwork that the insurance company requires. So when we're managing claims for our clients, we go and get those documents in advance, and we look at that before we send it to the insurance company, so that if there's a red flag, for example, if a doctor inadvertently writes down that their patient doesn't need any help with anything, for whatever reason, sometimes that happens, we will stop the process. We will call our client and let them know, hey, by the way, your doctor doesn't think you need any services. Have you talked to your doctor about what's going on in your home? And if the client says, no, actually, I've never talked to my doctor about these things, we direct them back to their doctor to get an appointment to discuss the issues and have the doctor fill that form out again. Now, one of the reasons why we feel as though our role is very important, we work with all types of different elder care professionals, and one of the things that I've realized in the service of providing advocacy is that when an individual is aging in place and receiving services, it's multidimensional. Most of our clients are seeing numerous professionals. They might be seeing a geriatric care manager. They may be seeing a physical therapist or an occupational therapist or a concierge doctor or a kinesiotherapist. They may have an independent caregiver. They may have a professional home care agency. All of these people have to be brought together. And from the perspective of long-term care insurance, there are benefits that will pay for these particular services. A lot of policies will actually pay for pendants, security pendants, home modifications. Of course, living at the V, thankfully, your bathrooms are already equipped and capable of managing any type of equipment that you need, or they're larger bathrooms and bedrooms, which is wonderful. But policies do pay for certain things that an individual might need. So working with professionals is so important because you can receive different types of medical equipment, services that will continue to help you live independently in your home. And as your advocate looking at your long-term care insurance policy, we can scour your contract to see, are there benefits that will pay for this type of thing? So here's my information, folks. My phone number at my office is 858-513-8351. My email address is my name, Linda.Jahnke, Jahnke @jcltca.com. There's so much more I could share with you. This is just scratching the surface. But again, one of the things that I want to express to you is if you have any questions about your policy, I'd invite you to get a copy of it. Somehow we can get a copy. You can leave it at the concierge out front and I can come and pick it up. I can take a look at it for you. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. And I am happy to take a look at your contract and just give you an idea of how that policy might pay. Once again, I invite all of you to reach out to me if you have any questions. And I thank you so much for taking the time to listen to my presentation. And I wish you all just the best of health and my well wishes to all of you. Take good care. Bye-bye.